The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
And you can switch off the cameras, guys. We're about to start. It's almost 11 o'clock and we're already ready for our Hospitality and Staycation webinar. Stay tuned. We will be with you shortly. A warm welcome to our Hospitality and Staycation webinar. It's 11 o'clock and we're about to start our webinar of today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I still see like a lot of attendees are registering, so we will wait for 1 or 2 minutes before we will start with our exciting content of today. Well, I can see that the majority of our attendees are already here. So again, a warm welcome. It's summertime and we're very happy on behalf of the Netherlands Business Council UAE and the BeNeLux Business Council Abu Dhabi to bring you still valuable webinars during the summertime here in Dubai. For those who don't know me, maybe we can start with a presentation. My name is Stephanie Schachtschabel and I'm the chairman of the Netherlands Business Council. Besides being the chairman, I'm also a passionate entrepreneur in the travel and tourism industry, and therefore I'm super happy to bring you today our webinar on the hospitality industry. We all know that this sector has been hit the hardest in the past few months, and therefore our members today will bring you the valuable content, but at the same time we will also help our members to also revive this sector. And we have interesting speakers from Dubai Tourism who will talk on behalf of boosting the Dubai tourism here in the region. We have Ms. Amna bin Handi, as well as Ms. Clementine Martini, and they will be talking in a duo presentation today. It will be followed by Stijn Bastiaanse from Hilton, as well as Lucas Stremmel from the Media One Hotel. Now, for those who are also the first time with us, if you look at the right side, you see the GoToWebinar control panel. There is one little box that says questions. Since this is a very interactive webinar today, we hope that you are going to ask our key panelists a lot of questions. But you can also ask these questions during the webinar. Although we will start with 3 keynote presentations, like during these presentations, you can already ask your questions. Then after the keynote presentations, our moderator, Jeroen Elmendorf, the General Manager of the Ritz-Carlton Dubai, will attend to your questions and will ask them on behalf of you to our panelists. So those are the rules of today. And so if we move to the next slide, it's for me personally a very big honor and pleasure to introduce to you Jeroen Elmendorp. He is a very loyal member of the Netherlands Business Council, and we have done many events together already for the past few years. But today it's the first time that I actually got him actively involved in one of our events, and I'm very proud to hand over the floor to our moderator of today, Jeroen Elmendorp.
Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. You did it. I'm here. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for joining the Hospitality and Staycation webinar for today. So we will have several presentations. After that, as Stephanie said, some questions and answers, and after that we have some interesting staycation offers for all of our members. So to start off, we have Amna Ben-Hendy and Clementine Martini from the Dubai Tourism that will share some valuable information about boosting the tourism in Dubai. And let's not wait any further and go ahead, Clementine. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Amna Ben-Hendy and I am part of Dubai Tourism team. I look after France, BeNeLux and the Central European markets at Dubai Tourism.
Thank you, Amna. Sorry, I was still muted. Can you all hear me well now? Okay.
Yep.
Hi everyone, my name is Clementine Martini. I work for Dubai Tourism. I'm in charge of marketing and comms for BeNeLux, hence my presence here, as well as for France, Spain, Portugal, and Latin America. First and foremost, thanks a lot for having us, and thanks a lot for the Netherlands Business Council to invite us. Where we are thrilled to present and hope we can give you as much visibility as we can on all initiatives undertaken by Dubai Tourism in order to bring tourism back to the destination. I'm gonna kick off the presentation and then I'm gonna let my colleague Hamna cover the trade side of things. But first and foremost, you know, as Stephanie mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, the COVID situation has hit the destination across the board through, you know, hospitality, businesses, all industries have been impacted, and tourism being at the forefront of the crisis. We are very much involved into bringing the tourism back to Dubai for both leisure and business tourism. Very important to us. We also encourage domestic tourism and international tourism. These represent the biggest volume of tourism and a top priority for us. As you might have seen, we've reopened the borders last week on July 7, where the airport welcomed the first travelers back to Dubai. We had a little activation at the airport with the Dubai tourism members welcoming personally travelers back to Dubai. You might have seen in the media. We're active from business, trade, marketing and communication campaigns across the globe, keeping in mind that we're also very sensitive of market situations and sensibilities. We are mostly active on countries who have open borders, and we just want to make sure we stay top on mind on destinations where borders are still closed. So I assume a lot of participants come from the Netherlands. So of course, Netherlands is one of our priority markets. It's the 25 key source markets for Dubai. We had a 2.7 growth rate compared to last year. So of course, 2020 will be impacted in terms of volume of tourism across the country, but we are rolling up our sleeves across the board at Dubai Tourism to bring tourism back to the destination by the end of the year. And we are also laying the ground for 2021. As you know, EXPO has been postponed to next year, overlapping to 2022. So the next 3 years will be very intense for us. And we also work hand in hand with the hospitality industry in Dubai on a daily basis. So as you might have guessed, our two messages to travelers and for now we're sending the tourism restart message to travelers and our salesperson on the ground, which are tour operators and travel agencies. We want them to travel with confidence, so we are also sending out the message of security and safety measures as travelers are looking for reassurance. So this is the key priorities across the board, and I'm going to hand over to Hamna to dive into the trade side of the tourism in Dubai. Hamna, over to you.
Thank you, Clem. So as Clem mentioned, you know, we opened our borders on the 7th of July. We're officially open to all of the countries that can travel here. To date, actually, this number is already, you know, outdated. We've conducted over 3 million tests as of June 21st, and we rank number 3 in terms of testing globally. We can go to the next slide. So as well, for the past 5 years, we have ranked number 2 in terms of safety with MasterCard Global. So they've done this, you know, survey for the last 5 years, and we've ranked number 2 for the last 5 years in terms of safety. So here you can see we've listed the number of testing. As I mentioned, we're number 3, but this number has surpassed 3 million. And this is according to the Deep Knowledge Analytics Agency that has conducted this research. Next slide, please. So here you can see the ranking in terms of all of the different, you know, emergency preparedness, monitoring and detection, you know, all of the different basically safety rankings by region. And again, we've come in number 3, so we're very ready to open the destination. We're keeping an eye on everything that's happening globally as well. We want to make sure that our visitors and anyone who's entering, our residents, our nationals, that's the number 1 thing is safety at the moment. Next slide, please. So as Clem mentioned as well, we're keeping an eye on all of the destinations and all of the markets that we look after globally. So here, this is a slide that goes across all of the different regions. So what we do is we have specific people at DTCM who manage different markets and different regions, and we keep an eye to see what's happening in their destination and whether they're ready to start traveling, what kind of messaging we want to put in the market. You know, are they past the pandemic and things are much better there? Are they completely open? Are they still weary of travel? And based on that, we kind of alter our messaging to each of the markets. Next slide. So here again, so we opened our borders on the 7th of July. As Clem mentioned, we had Dubai Tourism at the airport with Sheikh Hamdan as well, welcoming the first visitors to kind of put this positive message out there that we're ready, you know, we're happy to have you here. And of course, by abiding by all of the safety measures put in place. We work very closely with Dubai airports and the health authority as well, just to ensure the safety of everyone entering the city. Here you can see a list of what's open and operating. As I'm sure you know, on a daily basis, you know, most things are announced to be operating and open. Of course, each separate you know, department or whatever it may be has certain guidelines that they need to adhere by. So hotels and private beaches have certain guidelines. You know, the attractions have certain guidelines. So here, as DTCM, as Dubai Tourism, we try to ensure that everybody is operating, you know, under these safety guidelines and protocols that we've put into place. So the current restrictions in Dubai, obviously everyone needs to maintain the physical distance, and wearing a face mask is not optional, it's mandatory, and undergoing a temperature check. So I'm sure you know, you guys know when you enter, you know, any supermarket, any shopping mall, they check your temperature just to ensure that everybody is you know, safe from transmitting anything, obviously. So here are two latest initiatives and recognitions. Dubai was recognized as safe destination by the World Travel and Tourism Council. And we also have the Dubai Assured Stamp, which will be launching this week, actually. So it's for tourism and retail establishments that will comply with certain health and safety protocols. So if you comply with these specific protocols, you will receive this stamp, which you can, obviously market to your clientele or whoever it is as a safety measure, that you're abiding by these certain protocols. So here is a list of certain trainings and e-tools that we have, as a tourism board. Over the past, since March, actually, since, the pandemic started, we've conducted around 377,000 trainings. We've reached about 377 plus agents. And what we do is, we host webinars, and it might be with Emirates, for instance, it might be with certain stakeholders here at the destination. So we're very present globally in all of our markets, making sure that people are updated on the destination. They're aware of, the measures being taken place here, anything with Dubai airports, just to make sure that all of our stakeholders and partners are comfortable and aware of the updates here in the destination. So in terms of travel updates, I think I mentioned, a lot of the things that we need to ensure are put in place. A lot of the questions that we're receiving in terms of international travel requirements are listed here. The entry requirements have now gone back to pre-COVID entry requirements. We need to ensure that the travelers have medical insurance that covers COVID-19. They also need to sign, a health declaration form, and they need to register on the app once arriving here. There is the PCR test that they're required to take 96 hours before travel. However, if they don't take the test before they travel, they can take it at the airport here free of charge. Again, this mentions, the responsibility of the travelers, which is the same as what we do here as residents and UAE nationals, of course. Everyone needs to adhere to the requirements that are put in place by Dubai government. So this is nothing new here on this slide. We can move to the next one. So for the airport procedures and flights, I mentioned we work closely with Dubai airports. We try to, guide people to Dubai airports as well because they're constantly updating their procedures here. In terms of Emirates, our national carrier, they have implemented strict hygiene rules and regulations. For instance, some of the hygiene things that they conduct is they have a specific staff that, for instance, cleans the bathrooms every 45 minutes. And then all of their meals are packaged, and then as well as their menus. So their menus are digital now. They're not paper menus anymore. So those are some of the things that Emirates is doing as our national carrier. So again, here it's just mentioning, Dubai airports for any updates to, there are links to Dubai airports and the Emirates website as well that is updated constantly if there are any changes. So these are tools that we use as well with our stakeholders and partners to stay updated on the destination and the procedures. So I won't go into the specific, procedures here for each of the attractions, but it mentions, for pools and water parks, there's a list of things. So if you guys don't have these or you're unaware, we can share these with you. For instance, water parks need to be at 50% capacity, and there are these certain, rules and regulations for each of the attractions. So I think we can skip the next couple of slides. We can skip this one as well. So for the hotels, it's the same. We have certain rules and regulations. Again, we can share these with you if you require them or if you are interested in knowing what precautions are being taken, as well as I mentioned before, the Assure program, which will be something that's launched this week and will be new for hotels to take a part of. I think we can skip these, please. So what is Dubai doing? I know we're talking a lot about health and safety. As you're aware, the Ministry of Health is taking things quite seriously. We had our sterilization program where they sterilized the city. You know, we all went through that together. And then in terms of the government protocols for cases, there's also a link here in terms of what you should do if you test positive. So we guide, you know, everybody to these links to ensure that they're up to date on you know, the protocols here in the UAE and Dubai. Also, if you want to keep track of the number of cases here in the UAE, there is also a website where you can do that. We can share that with you as well. So stakeholder relations and EXPO. So for stakeholder relations, we actually have a team that keeps in touch with all of the stakeholders here in the UAE and you know, globally as well, just to ensure, as I mentioned, that everybody's updated. You know, all of our stakeholders here in the destination are being helped with whatever they might need for post-pandemic to ensure that we, you know, kick up the tourism industry and are supportive of our stakeholders and partners. In terms of EXPO, as I'm sure you've heard, it's been postponed to the 1st of October 2021, and this is just to ensure that everybody, you know, all of the participants are ready due to this impact of COVID-19. MICE, so we have a MICE team, and they are currently handling, you know, any of the events here in the destination. And as I'm sure you've heard about the Dubai government stimulus plan, you know, with all of the initiatives that they're taking to help the industry here. If you would like more information on these initiatives, we can share with you the information via email. So I think that's it from my end, from a trade perspective. I'll hand over to Clementine and she can go over the global marketing and communication. Clem?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Thank you, Amna. So marketing and comms is here to support the trade activities. So this is an overview of our footprint globally. As you know, we are present across more than 30 markets. We, of course, localize the content in local languages as per travel behaviors, per cultures and nationalities. We have a number of social media channels. We just revamped our website, updated the content for a more user-friendly journey. We have our usual hashtag Visit Dubai and My Dubai. I hope you all follow us and using our hashtags. Please spread the word, sorry, help us out. We're all in this together. So we have a number of marketing campaign that has been launched over the years. We have always on content in across the markets, and we can move to the next slide. I'm gonna go through very quickly through the latest campaign we launched since the beginning of the crisis. You know, COVID has impacted a lot of brands, and Dubai is no exception. However, we launched our Till We Meet Again campaign at the beginning of the pandemic, when the lockdown started, to send a friendly message to our travelers who travel to Dubai from their couch. So this was a campaign that lasted for around 12 weeks on digital only in local languages. So from a marketing perspective, our first priority is to keep the destination top of mind. We don't want travelers to lose interest, and our research show that there is a willingness to travel, even though some borders are closed, and some travelers, especially in Europe, will be traveling in their home markets or in Europe. That will be the case, I guess, for North Europe in the BeNeLux, but also for other European markets. We are preparing the ground for October, November, December, the New Year celebration in 2021. So we have always on content that is being launched on a regular basis. We just launched our new campaign, Ready When You Are, that's going to last over the summer. To bring tourism back to the market and launch this tourism restart message across the board. Just wanted to show you the 1-minute video of the campaign to make sure you all saw it. It is live across our social media channels, and we also have an advertising paid media campaign behind it. Can we launch the video? There seems to be a technical issue. Oh, here. Can you put the sound on? Thank you. So this campaign is running across more than 30 markets. The voice you heard is the voice of our CEO, Issam Kazim, who was very keen to send out the message himself. And we can go to the next slides, please. I think the sound was missing. I'm just going to close quickly, being conscious of time. Our management is very active in spreading out in the world that the destination is open. You've seen a snapshot of the latest interviews. Our Director General, Helal Al-Mari, gave a number of interviews to Bloomberg, CNBC, US News. Issam as well is out and about giving exclusive interviews across the market to invite our travelers back to Dubai. We have also PR agencies across multiple markets to support us locally. We can go to the next slide. We have media relations ongoing across the countries from China to South Korea, Japan, the UK, Germany, France, and South America to an extent, considering that the situation is critical there. So we're reaching to an end to our presentation. It lasted a bit longer. Sorry, I guess we put this webinar into the context of the whole destination. I hope it was helpful, and very happy to answer any questions you might have after the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clementine and Amna, for your presentation. Next up, we have the one and only Stijn Bastiaans. He is the Vice President and Commercial Director for Hilton Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. And he will be talking about staying close to their guests and setting the commercial engine for recovery. Go ahead.
Great. Goedemorgen, Jeroen. Kan je me goed horen?
Ja, geen probleem.
Okay. Goedemorgen iedereen. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for the invite to this webinar and letting me spend a little bit of time with you today. Also, thank you very much to the ladies from DTCM. Very interesting presentation on Dubai as a destination, and in general for all your efforts to really bring tourists back to Dubai and the UAE. So, as Jeroen said, my name is Stijn Bastiaans. I'm the Vice President and Commercial Director for Hilton. Responsible for the commercial strategy for the 170 hotels that we have here in the Middle East, Africa, and Turkey, and 150 more in the pipeline, including about 30 hotels up and running here in the UAE, mainly in Dubai and Ras Al Khaimah. Some of the brands that we have here in our portfolio is Waldorf Astoria, Conrad, and LXR in the luxury segment, Hilton, DoubleTree, Canopy, and Curio in the full service, and then Hilton Garden Inn and Hampton in the more economy segments. Originally from Belgium, I've been with Hilton for 20 years now, mainly in regional and corporate roles in the UK and sales, marketing, loyalty, and distribution. And then I came here to Dubai about 2 years ago, heading up the commercial strategy for Middle East and Africa. So great to be all with you for a little bit of time. There's no question that we've arguably had the worst quarter ever in our history of the 101-year-old company that we are now, founded by Conrad Hilton back in 1919. We had an amazing 100-year celebration last year, including KLM, for example, also an amazing 100-year celebration last year. But the world is obviously dramatically different now on where we are. So in the very early days of this pandemic, it was really all about keeping the company afloat, to be really honest, for the near-term future, and that was through drawing on liquidity and making sure we had the cash available in a cash is king world that we're living in right now. The reason why I explain it is it's particularly important because we hardly own any of our hotels, and almost all our hotels are either franchised or managed of the 6,100 hotels that we have around the world. It's a bit different in the different parts of the world. In the US, the vast majority is franchised. A bit closer to home in Europe, about 50% is franchised and the 50% we manage. And here in Middle East and Africa, franchise is not quite there yet. For the vast majority, we actually manage for an owner. And the reason why that is important for us in our operating model is that means that our only income as a company is coming from those franchise and management fees and mostly linked to top line revenues. So if the top line revenues are not coming in, the turnover is not coming in, we're not making any money as a company. So also as a result, and very unfortunate that had to be done over the last couple of weeks, we had to make some difficult decisions on letting certain team members go at the corporate level and hotel level. And for us, it's particularly different. I mean, it's different. It's difficult for every company, but we have such a strong Hilton team member culture that has been an incredibly tough time. And back in April, we actually had to close in Europe, Middle East, and Africa about 50% of our hotels. Most of them are now reopening. For example, we have a lot of hotels in the UK, and you might have seen the news, but UK had their Independence Day on the 4th of July, or their reopening day, effectively, with the UK back in business. And most of our hotels here in the Middle East have now reopened as well. So next slide, please. So what have we done to tackle this crisis? Well, as any major company and major hospitality company, we really delved straight into extensive customer research that we did back at the latter end of March, the beginning end of April. A global customer research was kicked off, and what really came out of that. And probably now, 3 months later, no surprise, but we really wanted to make sure that we were bang on the money with what the customers were thinking. And it was all around, the message that came out was all around, my home is my haven. Customers were very anxious about safety and cleanliness. We've heard that from other speakers as well, from DTCM, that there is a fear of infection and they don't know which brands to trust. So obviously, as the leading hospitality brand, it was critical that we came up with solutions to address those concerns. So with that information in mind, we then went on to the creation of a program which we call Hilton Clean Stay, which we launched early May, and that is really our program around cleanliness and safety that we have actually rolled out across 6,100 hotels from Hawaii to Tokyo and everything in between during the month of June. So when you now go and stay in any of our hotels here in the UAE, you will see that Hilton Clean Stay program front and center of your stay. We really see it as an industry-defining standard of cleanliness and disinfection in properties around the world. It's been developed together with a company, RB, who make Lysol and more known brand Dettol here in this part of the world, and also with the consultation of the Mayo Clinic in the US. They really helped us put this program together. so that we can ensure a cleaner and safer stay from check-in to check-out. So as you can see on the slide, Clean Stay really built on already high standards, of course, as you expect from a Hilton hotel in housekeeping and hygiene, but to really build on that. Certainly around those 10 points that you see here on the bedroom, but not just around the bedroom, also the restaurant, fitness room, and other public spaces. The standard also includes, you see the picture on the left, a room seal, that every room is now effectively being sealed, so that no one has entered, so that the guest knows that no one has entered after the room has been cleaned and disinfected. We follow a knock and go drop off in terms of room service, so again to have minimal interaction that is required, and certain flexible housekeeping options. So you see the 10 points here. It is around increased cleanliness, disinfection, guest accessible disinfecting wipes at entrance and high traffic areas, enhanced cleaning and disinfection for fitness centers, like I said already, in restaurants, bars, in-room dining, meeting space. We've also reduced the paper similar to, for example, what Emirates is doing, and gone fully digital on room service, menus that are all linked to a QR code that you scan when you check in. Next slide, please. So the Clean Stay program was heavily focused on the bedroom, and like I said, that was launched in May with full implementation in June. Hot off the press, only launched yesterday globally, is our program around meeting rooms and events. So it's literally hot off the press, only launched yesterday and communicated again for all our hotels globally in all the different parts of the world. And most brands, certainly all the brands that have meeting space and event space. So obviously you probably have all stayed or gone to an event in some sort in one of our hotels or one of our brands around the world. It is a critical part of our business, and without that we will really struggle. Of course, we know that leisure is this first segment that has come back, and we see a lot of those staycations right now, and we are doing incredibly well in places like Ras Al Khaimah and also the staycations here in Dubai, but we really need the events and the meeting space to come back as well. Hence why we came up with a separate program effectively a month after we launched the Clean Stay for the bedroom, because we know that MICE, meeting rooms and conference is going to take a little bit longer to recover. So this program is heavily linked to Clean Stay, also based on customer insights that have underscored that event planners are looking to Hilton for leadership and a program that addresses the full planner and attendee journey. They want flexibility in approach and transparency in cleanliness policies, so that we can give them the confidence that it is safe to plan meetings and events at Hilton. We'll deliver on that cleanliness and flexibility. Some of the standards really are around the entire journey, and it's not just about the actual meeting room. And you see again those 10 high touch points inside the meeting room, but also sanitizing stations inside and outside. We'll have a prominence in entryways and exitways in high traffic areas in our hotels and our conference facilities. Also, like with the bedroom, the meeting room will also have a room seal that is applied once the room is properly cleaned, and obviously will be unlocked, or the door will be opened when the event planner arrives, again, so that the event planner feels 100% confident with the safety and cleanliness of the room. Like I said, EventReady was launched yesterday, and the implementation will now start over the next few weeks around the world. So again, the vast majority of our hotels will adopt this, and it has now become a brand standard as well. Again, very much linked to a lot of hotels that we either manage, but certainly franchise, where we feel that this is of the utmost priority, that this becomes a full brand standard for our hotels and for our owners to follow. Next slide, please, and last slide. out of that customer research that we did back in March and April, it was, of course, like I said, very clear that the focus was heavily on safety and cleanliness. But the second area that was very important, and you all know that as customers and also in likely your business as well, is around flexibility, both flexibility and loyalty. So very early on, and here on the right, you see our beautiful Hilton in Schiphol. Maybe some of you have stayed there already on your way to Dubai. A strong focus on flexibility. And to that effect, again, very early on in April, we were first in industry to offer free cancellations on individual bookings through to originally June 30th. And we have then extended that until August 31st. You are likely aware of some of our advanced purchase products and other hotels and chains in this space where for a discount you get a certain amount of flexibility, but sometimes deposits are required. All of those products we have removed now on the shelf, at least until August 31st, because we feel that ultimate flexibility is a top priority right now. So any reservations that the customer had now before April 31st or even in the future can be changed until August 31st. That is a critical part of what we're trying to do. Also in the groups and event space, we are trying to be as flexible as possible, obviously to try and keep the group with us, but at a later stage to again provide that flexibility. We know that especially in the group space, it is incredibly important to show to the planner and to ultimately to you as a customer to show that we are flexible. The last area is loyalty. In our 100-year celebration last year, we actually managed to get to 100 million Hilton Honors members globally as well. That was a nice bit of a gimmick, but it does show that our Hilton Honors members are incredibly important and for the success of an individual hotel and for the company. So we needed to make sure that very early on that we showed that we were listening to them. So we were also the first in industry to announce the tier status extension until Q1 2022. We obviously realized that there is very little to none traffic and travel happening over the last 3 months and maybe for the foreseeable future. It is a very different world that we live in. So we didn't want to then be difficult about that tier status. Naturally, obviously, with less hotel stays, your tier status would drop, but we decided to freeze that until Q1 of 2022 to show to our travelers that we understand what they are going through. And a similar in that space from a loyalty perspective. First in industry to announce points expiration extended until December 2020. Sorry. Again, as you're not staying your points, you might not use your points to go and redeem them on a stay in Ras Al Khaimah or Dubai or anywhere around the world because those options are limited. So we made sure we listen to our customers. So those are really the critical elements that we as a company globally have taken to tackle the crisis. And you see that we really try to ensure that we are connected more than ever to our customers, making sure that we're doing the right thing. I think very important right now, not just for our customers, but also for our team members, for the communities that we operate in, which is a critical part of any hotel. We are fully part of the community. And then last but not least, for all the owners that we have around the world. Without owners, obviously, we don't have a business. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening. And again, open to any questions you may have after the presentations. Thank you very much. Back over to you, Jeroen.
Thank you, Stein. Much appreciated. So we are getting lots of questions until the end. Right now we have Lucas Tremmel, the Director of Hotel Operations at Hotel, telling about obtaining and sharing best practices around the Safe Hotel Clean certification. So go right ahead.
Thank you very much, Jeroen. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. And very good morning, everyone. And thank you very much, Stephanie, for the introduction. As Jeroen already mentioned, my name is Lucas Tremmel, Austrian, and I'm the Director of Hotel Operations at Media One. I'm very proud to lead the team here at Media One Hotel and Tower. Who are we? Media One is a mixed-use lifestyle destination here in the heart of Media City. We are very proud to operate an office tower, a lifestyle hotel, and obviously not to forget our wide F&B offering that we have here at Media One, which includes everything from a gastro bar on the ground floor, quality bar restaurant, Garden on 8, Cafe W, all the way up Mr. Miyagi's and Q43, and not to forget our famous car park parties that we host on a regular basis here at Media One. As you can see on the picture, we also are the Ghostbusters. There was one of our 3 cleaning and sanitization videos that we have done earlier this year to showcase some of the sanitization work that we have done here at Media One. Media One is a standalone hotel. What does that mean? We're not one of the big players, one of the big brands such as Stein from Hilton mentioned earlier. We're a standalone hotel, so there's only one Media One worldwide, and that gives us a lot of flexibility in our approach and how we do things here at Media One. This was the Ghostbuster video. Obviously, as I mentioned, it shows some of our sanitization work. If you haven't seen it, you can find it on LinkedIn, on Facebook. It went very viral very quickly. But something that we would not talk about were our cleaning and sanitization work and our standards, especially in times of COVID-19. Obviously, throughout the COVID crisis, we've been very keen to demonstrate that everyone who comes to Media One Hotel and Tower and our destination, that we are a safe and secure place to do so. We've taken a number of initiatives over the last few months, and we follow these protocols and procedures very, very strictly. So beginning of June, we have partnered up with a company called Safe Hotel. We've been working with Safe Hotel since 2015. Safe Hotel is a Swedish audit and controlling company that basically audits you on your health and safety procedures. We've been working with them since 2015, and in June we were certified by Safe Hotels as COVID clean. As I mentioned earlier, we're standalone. That means we have to scream a lot louder and we have to shout about everything that we do here to make sure we're heard and the message is received by our audience. So we were very, very proud to get COVID clean certified by Safe Hotel in June. What does that mean? It means that we had an external company come over and look at all our processes and procedures. Safe Hotel is a well-established company. They're working in just over 160 destinations in 80 countries around the globe, and they've recently launched a COVID clean label, which we were very, very proud of to be the first one in the Middle East and the second one worldwide to actually obtain that certification. Maybe a few words on the certification process itself. It's quite straightforward. The audit process is quite straightforward, but very extensive at the same time. What does it mean? You have to go through a self-assessment first. Only once you complete that self-assessment, you move on to the online assessment and submit all your processes and procedures. And then last but not least is the actual physical audit, where an appointed auditor comes over and then physically checks all your processes and procedures are in place. The physical audit covers just under 170 touch points, and it starts from the access control, the temperature check frequency, the cleaning frequency, all the way to the equipment that you use in your isolation room, and not to forget all the efforts that we take or that we took in terms of social distancing measures. The 10 high touch points that Stein had mentioned earlier as well in his presentation, obviously an absolute must and play a very crucial role. So we have them in place here as well. But once again, we take things here at Media One with a pinch of salt. So and obviously we had to reflect it in our collateral as well. So obviously keep your distance, stay 14 bananas. Obviously the monkey and the banana have over the years become a bit of a mascot here at Media One in our little urban channel. 2 meters away is the only okay, and we obviously continue with the theme. We also have started our own room seals. What does that mean is after every guest checks out, the room is being cleaned, sanitized, and fogged with our fogging machines. Then taken out of order for 48 hours and not given for any guests for the next 48 hours, and then as well sealed with a sticker. Obviously, that gives our guests the feeling that they're the first ones to enter, not only the feeling that they are the first ones to enter the room, and gives them additional assurance of safety when they stay here with us. Obviously, we didn't just stop there with the COVID clean audit. We've done a lot of other initiatives, and maybe if there is one, if you want to say so, a small upside of the recent pandemic, it was maybe the push that we as hoteliers got to proceed and to move forward with technology. So I think the progress that Media One has made in the last few months is without comparison. We made huge steps in terms of technology. We've always tried to be tech savvy. But as I said, the pace that we've recently picked up is without comparison. So just to name a few, we've managed to install a completely keyless and touchless check-in. The only touch point left at the moment during our guest check-in is when you actually sign on a pre-sanitized sealed iPad, the health declaration form. But other than that, the check-in has become completely touchless. And again here, trying not to have too much repetition, just a few other things. Most of the services are now accessible through your mobile phone. So the mobile phone has become very, very essential now through our guest journey. You check in obviously with your mobile phone. You have your room key now on your mobile phone. Laundry lists, room service, even the TV remote can now be operated through your mobile phone. And again, all these efforts were taken just to reduce and eliminate touch points throughout the guest journey. Something that also came up is obviously F&B has taken a massive hit, and so did the hotel rooms, but not to forget about our meeting room business. So something that we launched just recently, and we all know the weird scenarios when you meet someone, you're not quite sure. Do you do the elbow? Do you shake hands? Quite weird. So what we've started as well, try to overcome that problem with wristbands. And people then choose the wristband depending on and how they want to be approached. Like a green one, you can shake hands. The red one is keep my distance. I'm not comfortable yet. Again, trying to overcome these awkward moments when you go into meetings nowadays. Stephanie has asked me to keep it short and sweet, so we have more time for our question and answer at the end. That sums it up and concludes it from my part. And back to you, Arun.
Thank you so much, Lucas. I think Stephanie will now quickly go over our staycation offers, and after that we do have several questions that we will try to attend all of them before time is up. Go ahead, Steph.
Well, I think it's better to first ask the questions, Jeroen, so we have more time for the questions because we have so many attendees that ask so many questions. So I will leave the floor to you for a while.
Oh, great. Thank you. First question is, can the presentation be shared later on? I assume that is possible, Steph?
Definitely, Jeroen.
Okay, great. Next one is, some of them are a bit related, but so there is some question about the COVID-19 testing requirement for arriving tourists at the airport. So it's recommended to have a test result from the country you're leaving from with a 96-hour timestamp, but then when you get to Dubai, do you need to get tested again? And why is a European test result not accepted to cross the border to Abu Dhabi? So I think these are two questions for the ladies from DDCM. Really, the question is, what are the requirements exactly with the testing to come in? And do people have to pay for it? Tourists, residents we know is free, but tourists, are they paying for the test at the airport?
Okay, so I'll answer this question. So everybody entering has to have the valid, obviously PCR test, which was done 96 hours before arrival. However, if it's not done, you can have one done at the airport, and it is free of charge at the moment. In terms of the European test, you know, Abu Dhabi is a separate emirate, so I'm not really sure for that one. We can have a look and see, you know, maybe contact our contact in Abu Dhabi and see what the situation is with that. However, for the testing, as I mentioned, you should have it done 96 hours before. If you have not, you can have it done in the Dubai airport, and then you will receive your result. While you wait for your result, you need to stay in your, you know, hotel room or wherever it is that you will be residing in.
Thank you. So tourists arriving into Dubai at the airport, their test is free of charge, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. The next question is also for you, Amna. The UAE embassy in the Netherlands communicates to tourists traveling to Dubai to have the test taken at any hospital in the Netherlands. But the UAE government communicates 106 recognized hospitals worldwide. So do they have to go to one of these 106 hospitals, or can they go to any hospital and get a test in the Netherlands before coming to Dubai?
Let me check on this and get back to you for this.
Okay. The next question is probably also for you, Amna. You're popular. There's a number of examples where countries have obviously been able to control the virus, but as soon as they opened up, there was a resurgence of the virus due to infected people arriving into the countries, less in our hotels. So what is being, well, I don't think it's for you, Amna. I think it's more for Lucas or Stein or myself. What additional sanitation requirements are hotels being asked to undertake to prevent a wider outbreak within and outside the hotel? Who would like to answer that? Lucas, Stein?
And do you mean, what do you mean by outside the hotel?
No, I think the question is a bit of, I mean, I can answer the question basically. We have received very stringent guidelines from Dubai municipality as to what and what is not allowed inside hotels for every single area, from the kids club to the pools, to the gym, to the spa, to the guest rooms, and they're obviously all being implemented and actually being checked on a very regular basis by Dubai municipality. We opened the doors on July 1, and I think we've had about 5 inspections so far, and they do check that everything is being adhered to. So that is only from Dubai municipality, but then as Stein mentioned and as Lucas mentioned, and then me working for Marriott International, there are very strict guidelines coming from our head offices as to what we need to follow in regard to sanitation for hotels. And honestly, I don't think, you know, there's a next question that's talking about KPIs. How do we measure the sanitation, that it's actually being done? I don't think you'll have any business if your hotel is not clean, because the guests are looking at this day and age for cleanliness first and foremost. So I hope this answers the question a little bit. To the next question, I think that's for Lucas and Stein and maybe me, but I'll leave it to you guys. There's a number of disinfection technologies which have been used in other countries to control COVID-19. Dry mist foggers to disinfect public spaces, for example. How is DTCM supporting hospitality business in adapting these foggers? I don't think DTCM is supporting hotels in this. This is something that is being launched for all hotels individually. Stein, Lucas?
Yeah. And I think you've already mentioned it. It's twofold, right? One is obviously being a global chain like Hilton, and in your Marriott, been very strict rules on the cleanliness. Like I explained earlier, we've worked with brands like Dettol and Lysol, but also with Mayo Clinic to help us assess what is the right approach and what is the control element, because we all know that there's a lot of other products out there that might not be as effective. So we are 100% comfortable with the products that we have and that we are implementing, and the cleanliness that we are implementing. And on top of that, we work very closely with, in the case of Ras Al Khaimah, for example, REC TDA or Dubai Tourism on implementing those guidelines. Both the tourism guidelines and ours are strict, and so they should, and obviously being measured on a daily basis that they're being implemented. The last thing, again, like you said, Jeroen, is as with social media, WhatsApp group, certainly here in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the UAE, your reputation is at stake if you don't do the right thing right now. And that is even more important now in the staycation world, whereas otherwise you might have people from Russia or from China coming to our hotels, and that is a different type of customer. We really have a lot of staycationers who know the UAE very well, and they know our hotels very well, and if they're not happy, they will very quickly share that with their friends, neighbors, and colleagues. So it's also the reputation that is at stake.
Yeah, I'll just jump in here from a Dubai tourism side as well. I think, as mentioned, all the hotel groups have their own individual safety guidelines and measures that they're taking, or implementing rather. And then as a city, as Dubai Tourism, we have the Dubai Assure program, which again is launching this week. So it's an extra added layer of reassurance for, the visitors coming in, even the residents, as you mentioned, for staycations as well. So I think it's a mix of both. You have the hotel groups and then the added layer of the city, the Dubai Assure stamp as well.
Thank you. Next question, I think that's for you, Stein. Which short-term / mid-term ramp-up scenario after COVID-19 will Dubai travel sector follow, given the fact that business travel will drop due to the digital developments, holiday travels will drop due to the fear for the virus, and the expected cost increase related to COVID? So basically your business travel is gone, your holiday travel is gone. So what are you doing in the short term? I think it's for both Lucas and Stein again.
Yeah, I'll answer quickly, so give the floor to Lucas as well. Well, first of all, it's the $1 million question that we're all asking ourselves. You're exactly right. I think the corporate drive staycations, I guess, might come back certainly when Abu Dhabi opens up. So we do hope that there is some demands coming there. I think MICE will take a bit of time, hence why it is so important to communicate what we are doing and how we're setting ourselves up. But again, that will take a bit of time, and that might be going well into 2021. I do think that from a leisure perspective, there is an enormous amount of pent-up demand. Both from a staycation perspective, which we are seeing in Ras Al Khaimah and slowly but surely in Dubai, but also internationally, with DTCM explaining that Dubai is opening up and has opened up now on July 7th. We do feel that certain countries will start traveling and gradually will start traveling. And because that pent-up demand, Dubai has always been a bit of a dream destination for a lot of people. And we do feel that to a certain extent we can replace that, and actually surprisingly sometimes at higher rates than before. And that is also a critical element in our hotels. It's not just about occupancy, but it's also about rate. So it's steady as she goes, but different markets will open at different times, and hopefully we'll benefit from that. Lucas?
Yeah, and obviously adding on to what you already said, yeah, absolutely. Hotels, hotel rooms are taking a massive hit at the moment. So what an approach that we have taken at the moment is taking a slight shift in strategy at the moment and focusing very heavily on F&B. While we can't control tourists not coming into the country, you still want to make them as comfortably as possible, and make sure that you emphasize on the cleaning and hygiene procedures that you have in place to at least the tourists that are coming into the country are feeling safe and secure. To be honest, we're seeing a fantastic upwards trend right now in F&B, which makes me hope that rooms will follow. But F&B is doing very, very well. And then again, for meeting rooms, for meeting business, making them feel as comfortable as possible and trying to avoid these weird scenarios. People will meet eventually again. I'm confident about that. Only meeting online, it will substitute to some extent, but not substitute it won't be substituting face-to-face meetings completely.
Thank you, gentlemen. Lucas, first question for you. The World Health Organization acknowledged that under the right circumstances, the virus can be airborne. What is the hotel industry implementing, ensuring the sense to make sure that the air in the hotel is of good quality?
Okay. We've taken a number of steps here. Once again, we have installed extra filtration systems for our fan coil units and for the air handling units. This is the central unit that keeps the air circulating. And then obviously the fogging machine that were mentioned earlier. Yes, they look funny, but they are highly effective. It has been proven that they sterilize and sterilize surfaces up to 48 hours. These are two measures that we have taken, and we're very, very strict on that. It works extremely well.
Thank you. And this is a bit of a related question. Is the use of ozone and UVC preferred over the use of potential harmful chemicals? Who knows the answer? I think it's a combination of both. I mean, we don't use ozone, well, we use ozone machines, but not for this purpose. I mean, again, same for Hilton, same for Lucas, same for Marriott. We are all partnered with either Ecolab or with RB or with any of the big chemical companies, and they are obviously invested in this whole situation as well, and they are guaranteeing us that all the products that we are obliged to use or dictated to use are all killing the virus. So fogging seems to be the biggest trend in the industry. We at Marriott did not start the fogging process yet, although I know individual hotels do it here and there. We do it somehow. But as of the beginning of August, we all need to have fogging machines. It's been dictated, all hotels have it for certain areas in the hotel. I hope this answers the question. And then an interesting one, I guess it's for all three of us. How do we make traveling nice and comfortable again? Lucas?
Yeah. It's an interesting question. I think everyone understood the problem of COVID and the pandemic right now. So what we have done is obviously social distancing, taking all measures that you can take, but as well try and take it with a pinch of salt. And as much as it allows the serious situation that we find ourselves in, give it a bit of a spin, and as much as I said, as you can, give it a bit of a pinch of salt, if you want to say so. That doesn't mean any tolerance on cleanliness, procedures, and processes. But if you can, give it a spin. Our marketing team has done a fantastic job in producing fun, entertaining collateral, but still getting the message across to feel. It makes you feel safe and secure. And I think this is just how it's going to be moving forward, making sure that we are strict on masks, but the masks don't have to be blue and white. They can be all different kinds of smiley faces and God knows what. But again, trying to use the current situation we're finding ourselves in and giving it a pinch of salt and making it a bit more fun.
If I could just come in there as well, I think we internally call it the theater of cleanliness, really, which does mean that we need to show to the customer that tables are being sanitized, rooms are being cleaned, and it is a big part of the world that we're living in right now. That does not mean that it's therefore not a nice stay, but it is important that the customer sees that these measures are being taken. And then it is all about personal attention. I think to really understand what the customer wants. We know that the customer will be a bit worried about their first stay. It is really about understanding that, taking care of their customer, what they need, and again, linked to what I said earlier, that focus on flexibility. Right? Really, now is not the time to be a bit difficult. No, we need to show flexibility, and maybe that's some of the lessons that I think we're also learning from this very difficult period. Let's hope that we're all learning lessons for the future as well.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think the last thing I need to announce here is that for all people online, the KLM has included Dubai in their Plan with Confidence at a Great Price online campaign, which was launched on July 13th. So that's great news as well. Thank you, KLM, for doing that. I don't have any more questions. Thank you all for all your inside information. I think Stephanie is back to give us the wrap up and the fantastic offers that we all would like you to take advantage of, and hopefully welcome you in one of our hotels.
Well, thank you very much, Jeroen. And thank you very much for our panelists, Stijn Bastiaanse and Lucas Tremmel, for being with us in the panel discussion. And of course, a big thank you also to Clementine Martini and Amna bin Hendy for giving us so many insights on the hospitality industry right now, and like how you are dealing with this difficult situation. And as a membership organization with an outreach to many companies here in the UAE, we are all very happy that you're taking our safety and health and safety measures so seriously. So we cannot wait to go and visit your properties again, which many of us already do. If we go to the next slide, I would like to introduce to you a few staycations that are offered by our members to you, especially for those who are staying here in July and in August, because of course we have Eid coming up, and both Hilton and Media One Hotel, but also our other members such as the Anantara in Abu Dhabi, have come up with interesting staycations, and we will send you all these staycations for Eid by email, because right now we are unfortunately running out of time. But the Ritz-Carlton is offering a very nice staycation. You can even, or they call it a daycation now. The Waldorf Astoria, the Hilton Jumeirah, also in Abu Dhabi, there are fantastic offers for you to grab. Media One has the wine and cheese, believe it or not, but I don't eat cheese, but most of the Dutch companies and the Dutch people, they love wine and cheese. So go to Media One for this. And as I said, also Anantara has offered a nice and exclusive staycation special. So we will send you this presentation so all of you can really benefit from the offers that also the hotels have to offer you. Normally, everybody knows at the Netherlands Business Council that and at the BeNeLux Business Council, that we don't do any commercial deals for our members, but this is obviously because the travel and tourism industry, we are in this together. Clementine said it well, we have to support the travel and tourism industry here locally to make sure that they will be the rising star in the upcoming months again. And we can only do that if we all do it together. So don't stay home, but go to the hotels. That is the message that I would like to conclude with this webinar, Hospitality and Staycations. Thank you again, guys, for being with us today. Thank you, Clementine. Thank you, Amna. It was really a pleasure and interesting webinar to listen to all the insights of the hospitality industry and the tourism industry. So hope to see you soon at another webinar. And for now, on behalf of the Netherlands Business Council UAE and the BeNeLux Business Council UAE, we wish you a pleasant day. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.